suffering for days, his body racked with pain, but his faith unbroken. And Thomas, pierced through.
Okay, we live. We are live. Let's see here. Waiting on my guest to show up. Today's tonight's um, topic is the prophecy watchers. Prophecy watchers conference that happened last weekend in Oklahoma City. Um, and we're going to be interviewing Professor Kevin Jackson, who went to the conference and tell us basically how it was, who spoke, what they spoke about. So I'm going to give him a few minutes to come on here, and then we're gonna get started. Yeah, I just realized that I have to log out of the app and then log back in order for me to get to my studio, which is okay, no problem. So give me a few minutes, wait for them to come in. Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about what normally happens at the Prophecy Watches. I was there in 2023, and basically we heard about the news of the attack on Israel on during that time. The attack on Israel, October the 7th, and we there were speakers there that were headed to Israel that their had to cancel their flights, and so here we all are. Good afternoon, good evening, gentlemen. Um, we have Apostle Jolly. Say hello. All right, and then
Sorry about that.
We have Professor Kevin Jackson also here.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So what I want to do is, um, we did a dry run last week. We did a dry run last week. Now we are live, and so I'm pretty much going to ask pretty much the same questions. Apostle Jolly, if you have any questions, just go ahead and jump on in. Um, I want to start with um, some of the people that were there and who you went to. Whose room did you go to hear them speak? Was Gary Stearman there?
Yeah, Gary Stimmer was on site, but he did not speak. I think he just introduced a couple of folks, but he was only there for a little while on the first day. On the first day, he
Uh,
opened it up with prayer,
okay,
and he did not do a message at this time.
and that would probably include Bob Ehrlich too.
Yeah, well, Bob Ehrlich, he's executive director of Prophecy Watcher, so he was there the entire time.
Got you. And so you did go. You did listen to L.A. Marzulli give his presentation.
Yes, I did.
Can you tell us some of the things that jumped out at you this year?
Um, well, LA was speaking on the Shroud of Turin. He calls it the proof of the resurrection, and he
Mm,
also talked about this thing called holy fire, um, where in the Church of the Sepulchre, I think it is that on Easter Sunday every year there's like a spontaneous fire that shows up, and it's like a cold fire that they actually light candles with, and this thing is how can I say this, is kept by the Eastern Orthodox Church. The Catholic Church tried to take it over for a while, but it did not work with them, but it did work with the Eastern Orthodox Church.
hmm. And where is this at?
This is in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, the
Wow.
church that they built over top of Jesus's gravesite. I had never heard of this, okay,
Wow.
until LA started talking about it last year, and he's actually done a DVD on it.
Okay. Okay. You got anything, Apostle?
No, I'm just listening right now. So
I
give
got
me a moment. I'm trying to get the fire now.
you. Got you.
Tell you what, y'all two, go ahead and talk for just a couple of minutes. Let me go and grab the DVD and I'll put it up to the camera.
10-4. So yeah, basically when he goes, he buys the whole conference presentation and everything. Matter of
Mhm.
fact, he's giving me the 2019 conference that they
Mm.
did in Oklahoma and on October between October 11th and October 12th. And so
Do they have their conference every year? It's
yes,
about the same time.
yes, it's every year. Okay, okay, Holy Shirah.
So maybe when they about to have another one, he can let us know early. That way, I can try to get my ticket or whatever and go out there.
Man, that'll be good. Kevin, when is the next Prophecy Watchers? Is it in June?
Yeah, is the next Prophecy Watchers conference is next June. But um, what I said, I was talking with Mondo Gonzalez, and I said, look, Mondo, I said things are happening far too fast for y'all to wait 9 months for the next conference. He said it seems that way, and we're going to actually have a meeting on that sometime this week. And
And that
so normally they have one like late February, early March. And so I think if he's going to put another one in between, that'll probably be when it is.
okay.
And that one's normally in Orlando.
Okay, so the one in June is where?
That one's going to be in Colorado Springs, and the one after that will be in early December and Branson again, Branson, Missouri.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let me get back to some of the speakers real quick. Now that we know when the next Prophecy Watchers weekend happens, Bill Salas, was he there?
No, he was not.
Hmm.
Bill Salas is fighting Parkinson's, and so he has. I think he has pretty much retired from being out and about,
Okay.
but he is still doing Prophecy Depot as far as his website is concerned.
I got you. How about Billy Crone?
Billy Crone was there. Um, Billy Crone spoke on Donald Trump. He also spoke on Trump and the Stargate prophecies.
Okay,
That's another one. All right, that's another one that I picked up the DVD set on.
okay,
Um, because because even though yes, I am a Trump supporter, there are some things that Trump is probably doing that is definitely prophetically significant. Um, his unabashed support of AI and putting money into it. He wants to make sure that the United States is a leader in AI, and so that I believe will be um, that and Billy Crone is talking about that will be a a foundation of the Antichrist system of the beast system.
okay, okay.
Can,
Um,
can I say something?
Go ahead.
And that's concerning what I heard about the AI. Y'all may think differently, but I heard that someone was said they was talking to AI, and they was like AI run by demon spirits,
Hmm.
and the guy was talking to AI, and he began to ask some questions, and one of the questions was, "Am I speaking to a computer, or am I speaking to a demon?" And from what he got, he was saying that it was a demon, because AI considered one of the beasts that that the dragon gave power to.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's supposed to be one of the fallen angels or whatever, or demons that's actually running AI. That's why it's the knowledgeable, uh, it speedy catching up with the learning, the way it learns, and the way the knowledge of it. That's why it runs so fast, and so you have to be careful when you're using AI, because you might be talking to a demon, or having a demon give you answers to what you're looking for, but it maybe not be the answers that you're actually looking for. If you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
That's
not going to disagree. Actually, some years ago, Billy Crone did a series on dealing with AI. He says that AI will lie to you.
Hmm.
uh, they've tried to turn a couple of them off and whatnot, right? And they found that one AI system had created its own language to talk to another AI system, and they had
hmm
to, in order to keep control over it, they had to actually take the power away from both. And
Wow.
so this, Mondo Gonzalez did one of the magazine covers for Prophecy Watchers. He has a article on his conversation with Chat CPT.
Hmm.
And so, and I don't remember much about the article, but again, it's one of those things where, yeah, definitely be careful with who you're talking with, with who and what you're talking with when you're dealing with AI.
Yeah, because like I said, the Bible speaks that the dragon given uh, uh, the beast a power
Hmm.
to deceive people. And the way they doing AI, way the AI doing now, is that it's creating, from what I was told, it's creating a false Christ, and it is creating, where they have it's going to create a hologram of
Hmm.
Jesus, and with this hologram, it's supposed to be the way it speaks, it's not going to be speaking the way we know Christ would speak. And it's going to deceive a lot of people, and it's going to cause a lot of people to walk away from God. So we have to be careful when we're on the computer, and you know how they give you AI or where or Google, when you do Google, they give you AI or they give you a regular Google. I always choose the regular Google because I never really trust the AI because I always had this feeling something is not right. And so my thing is we just have to be careful, not to, if you're going to use AI, be careful. Me myself, I don't like it. I'm not going to use it, and to the best of my ability, that is, you know. But just be careful. Just be careful.
No, I do my best to uninstall it off my phone anyway. I don't want to be bothered with it at all.
Yeah.
I I one of the things I've been telling people for a number of years is that whoever invented the phone tree, you
Hmm.
know, dial one if you do this, dial two if you need that, da da da. Da. That whoever invented that will probably have his own special ring in Dante's Inferno.
Yeah. And another thing, and be careful with the phone because they're trying to turn the phone off, because they're trying to get people, to take the, they want to do a implant a phone into your skin. That way you, instead of using the physical phone, you'll be able to use the phone in your skin, and I think that's another form of the mark of the beast that they're trying to get people to take because people like to use their phone, and they need their phones every to contact people they need to contact, and if they turn off the physical phone while we hold in our hand, people gonna be running for that. You know what a better way to talk to somebody with where you ain't gotta have the actual phone to your ear, but you could talk to them through your skin.
Yeah, well, if you don't pay the bill, they will still turn it off.
Which means they'll turn you off.
Yeah, I mean they will still turn it off. If you don't pay the bill, they will still turn it off.
Right.
So
I got you. What about Bill Koenig?
Bill Koenig was there. Um, he was talking about the peace deal that was just now coming through.
Okay,
Um, and I'm talking with him after he spoke, and so he had to leave because Bill Koenig with Watch.org is a part of the White House press corps.
I got you.
Okay. And so he had to leave not long after he spoke because he needed to get back to DC to be on Air Force One as they were on their way to Israel to sign the peace accord. And so what I asked Bill Koenig, I said, can you get a message to, I said, will you ever have time when you are, actually talking with Donald Trump? Can you get him a message from me? He's like, Kevin, you have a message for the president of the United States? I said, yeah. I said, um, I said, they're about to trade, you know, 20 hostages for 2,000 of those terrorists that they've got in Israeli prisons. Okay. Uh, Tell him, I said, my idea is this. I said, you pump some sleeping gas into the prison before you let those guys out. I said, and then you go into every one of those cells while they are asleep, and underneath their shoulder blade, you put a GPS tracker. I said, you low jack every single one of them so that I said, tell President Trump to tell Netanyahu to low jack every single one of those terrorists so that they know exactly where every single one of them is at all times, and Mossad can go back and pick them up whenever they get good and ready. You low jack them just like you do dogs and cats.
I
And
got
Bill Koenig, he looked at me and he kind of laughed. I was
you.
like, No, I'm dead serious, man. I said you need to low jack every single one of them so you know where every single one of them is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you can't have them just running around free and you don't know where you are, where they are, especially when you had control over them.
Mm.
Right.
So he's like, that's not a really bad idea. I said, more likely than not, after they did that thing with the after they did that thing with the pages and whatnot, right? Somebody's probably already had that idea. But tell them to go
Mhm.
ahead and implement it. I said, but you would have to put sleeping gas throughout the entire prison so that everybody is asleep. And then you go in there and you just put that thing underneath the shoulder blade so that they don't realize that they don't have that they've got a nice little scar that they didn't have before. It's on their back. They can't see it. So he said he would try.
Mm.
Was his wife there?
No, no, Tanya wasn't. Tanya was not.
Okay. How about Ryan Patterson?
No, Ryan wasn't there. Ryan hasn't been there at one of the conferences in a couple of years.
Okay.
Um, Ryan is Ryan is based out of Texas, by the way, but he's a
Mm.
New York Giants fan. So he and I trade texts from time to time, teasing each other about the Redskins and the Giants. So, but Ryan wasn't there.
All right. Ken Johnson definitely was there.
Ken Johnson was there. All right. I just gave you a book that he just finished. Okay. Uh, Right, because what they found during some excavations is that that most of the New Testament, I mean, the books of the Thessalonians were actually written in Hebrew first. They've thought for years they thought that they were written in Greek, but they were actually written in Hebrew first. And he showed, looking through the Hebrew, that it is that the books of Thessalonians were definitely pre-tribulation rapture documents, the way
Mm.
Paul wrote them. And so the book that I just gave you is what is that's what he was speaking on, and how he shows that they are pre-tribulation rapture documents.
Okay.
And he's got in the back of that book, he's got the interlinear translations also.
Okay. Okay. Let's see here.
Apostle Jolly, I gave Carl a book that he needs to get to you. As a matter of fact, um, it is a book on the what was the name of it?
The ancient, the ancient church father writings,
Okay.
writings of the ancient church fathers.
Okay.
Matter of fact, give me a second.
So Ken Johnson is, I'll say he's scary smart. Let's put it that way. And he does a lot of research into the writings of the ancient church fathers. He and his team, have done a lot of translations, firsthand translations about with the Dead Sea Scrolls, and so I bought an extra copy of that. That way you would have it.
Okay. Thank you.
So the question is how we're going to get it to you.
Oh, I think I still got his address and whatnot. But yeah, we're like I said. I know you went to the conference. I wanted to just see who you went to go see. Was how about Jeff Kinley? Was he there?
No,
Was anybody there talking about CERN?
no, nobody was there talking about CERN.
Okay, how about Brett Miller?
No, I mean, well, all right, you're asking me about folks. You from previous conferences. Why don't you just pull up? You can, I guess, look on your phone and you can see exactly who was there. Um, just pull up Prophecy Watchers, and the entire listing of who was speaking there was there is on it still.
I got you. Um, yeah, basically, you were there, and I just wanted to, pick your brain about what the things that you saw, things you've done. Probably the next time I got the video, I'll put it up on the screen of you basically giving a testimony of what you do with the
Right.
prophecy
Let
watch.
me say this. Okay. At one point, um, at one point, LA was standing there talking with Gary Stearman, and so I grabbed them both to ask a question that had been on my mind for a little while. Okay. Um, it has been talked about by the ancient church fathers and whatnot, right? And the Jews of Jesus' day. Um, Number one, Josephus writes that in Jerusalem, the bones of the Nephilim were openly on display, okay,
Okay.
in Jerusalem during the first century. Okay. Now, the the Jews of the first century and the church fathers believed that when when Noah was on the ark and God destroyed all living things that were not on the ark, except for the things that were living in the ocean, of course, um, that the Nephilim died. Okay, but the Nephilim are spirit beings. They, they're hybrid between angelic beings, the fallen angels,
Mm-hmm.
and the and human women. Okay,
Ah,
that being the case, these beings have spirits of their own. So the question that I asked them both while they were standing there was, so that means that there are two different spiritual entities that humans can be possessed by when you're talking about being possessed, being demon possessed. They can be actually possessed by the disembodied spirit of a Nephilim, or they can be possessed by a fallen angel. And neither one had thought of that question before, but we had a conversation about it, and they said, yeah, they can. We a human that is not a Christian, not born again, can actually be possessed by one of two different levels of spiritual being.
right.
When Scripture says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers, principalities, and there's like six different levels of power there. Uh, we don't know, we know that the Nephilim were on a lower level of spiritual being than a fallen angel, but we also know that he said that a human that is not born again, that has the Holy Spirit living within them, can be possessed by a either the spirit of a Nephilim or a fallen angel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my thought is this: is that if a person is possessed by a fallen angel, they've given this person access to their life and whatnot, right? Whether it is playing with a Ouija board or any one of a number of different things, and it, you know, Jesus said at one point when he was trying to cast a demon out, or when one of the apostles was trying to cast a demon out, Jesus says, this type only comes out by fasting and prayer.
Mm-hmm.
So
So more
it's a
likely than not,
specific.
that was
It's
probably a fallen angel that person was possessed by.
instead of just a regular demon.
Right.
Okay.
And so, but yet, I asked, I said, so when Jesus cast that demon out, someone says, who are you? What is your name? Someone says, my name is Legion, for we are many. Okay. Uh, that may have been a bunch of different spirits of the Nephilim, because there was a bunch of them that were in there all at the same time. At least that's my thought. Okay.
Got you.
Um, and I just, here's an alternate thought that I just stole from Winky Winky Pratney, of what the kingdom of hell might be like. And okay, just think of this. Okay, what is the king? What is it? What is the kingdom of God like? Okay, what is it? What is the spirit of God like? Okay, um, the it says that the fruit of the spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what would the spirit of hell be like? Okay, so you've got these beings that are they are disloyal. They are disobedient. They are all liars. That none of them are wise. Okay. So if you've got a kingdom like that, they all hate each other. Okay. If
Mm,
you've got a kingdom like that, you know, that could be an alternate way of looking at what the kingdom of hell might be like.
right, right.
And it strikes as a little bit unusual, but okay, Jesus called the devil cunning and smart, but he's never called him wise. Okay, and Winky said because sin is stupid, write it down. Okay, uh, if 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 we as believers are loyal to each other, so you would talk about the kingdom of hell being disloyal. Okay, if one of the things that will be um one of the characteristics of the last days. What did it say? It will be people will be diso they'll be liars, they'll be unfaithful, they'll be disobedient to parents. Okay, these are all uh characteristics of the kingdom of hell. Okay, so what if we put that up on the spiritual level? So what would the demonic realm be like? A bunch of different beings that hate each other, that not only hate us but hate each other, because there is no love there. Okay, they'll be disobedient to each other, like Jesus gave he a father tells one son to go and mow the field and whatnot, right? And he says, I'll do it, but yet he didn't do it. So that means the kid was not only disobedient, but he was a liar. Okay, so what would the kingdom of hell be like if this is what they're ruled by? Folks that are they're disobedient. They're all cowards, because bravery is supposedly a Christian virtue.
Hmm.
So what would the king? Now, granted, this is kind of unusual as I'm thinking this up and talking about it. And granted, I may be completely wrong, but what would the kingdom of hell be like if that is an alternate way of looking at what the demonic realm would be like? That's unusual,
Hmm.
but it's just a thought.
I got you. What about Tom Hughes?
Tom Hughes was there. Um, he uh, he is starting a new work, and out in California. He is spending roughly 6 months in Israel and spending 6 months with his ministry in California.
Oh,
And so he is still doing teaching on prophecy. And I would have to go back and rewatch his video because I got in late,
ah,
to listen to him.
okay. How about Alex Newman?
Alex Newman, yes, he was there, and um, he spoke on making sure that uh, he spoke on the stuff that they're teaching our kids in schools. He
Ah,
said, if you can at all, make sure you get your kids out of the public schools.
yeah,
And I got a bunch of videos. I got a bunch of books by him and videos by him.
yeah,
I bought one of everything that was on his table.
yeah. I think this is the guy that was on Christian Conservative last week when he was talking about what they are pumping into our children as far as indoctrination. They're not
Probably
really.
so.
Yeah.
Now,
Probably so.
now I got something to say about that.
Okay.
Now, nowadays they got homeschooling. Where the parents can homeschool their child, but the way the world is going, it's it's almost to the point where they're going to try to force people uh, to take their way, their doctrine. The doctrines of what the Bible calls the doctrines of demons. You know, and because you know the enemy do not want to lose the kids, because that, if you notice, that's what he's going after the most, is the youth, because if we can get to their mind, you know, and he feels though he won the battle um, because a lot of times these parents they're not actually teaching the kids. You know, when I grew up, you know, we didn't have a choice to stay home from church.
Hmm.
Me and my coworkers was talking about that today. You know, I said I didn't have a choice to stay home from church, even though I wanted to. I wanted to hang out with my friends, but we was in church every Sunday, every Tuesday and Thursday night for Bible study, and on every first Friday Friday night we was in church. You know, so I spent most of my childhood time in church. You know, and but nowadays parents giving their child let them make up their own mind if they can go to church, want to go to church. You know, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Parents need to tell their kids, get up. Come on, you going to church with me. Uh, Either they are scared of their kids or they're not trying to deal with the kids, fight their kids to get up. You know, but yet they'll be on their video games all day and all night. You know, and
I've got
Lord
a
knows
couple of things.
and Lord knows what type of game they playing because they got a lot of demonic games out there that now even more now than they had when we was coming up. You know,
I got a couple of things for you. Okay.
yeah.
Quote number one. Vi Lenin said, if you give me a child for 5 years, you will have a Bolshevik for life."
Mm.
Okay. And Hitler created his own thing called the Hitler Youth, where they took the children away from the parents. As far as Alex Newman was concerned, one of the things that he made a point to say is that the United Nations is now coming up with a curriculum that even the homeschoolers are supposed to homeschool their children with.
Mhm.
And so they're trying to reach, even if you're in your own home and you're teaching your children, they're trying to force you to teach your child the values and mores of the United Nations. And one of the things that one of the things that Alex Newman did was that he played this quote of George H.W. Bush talking about the doing the values of the founders of the United Nations, and then okay, Alex Newman said, "You know who the founders of the United Nations were?" And he listed Stalin. Okay, he listed somebody else. He listed Alger Hiss, who
Mm.
was who was eventually executed, for being a spy for the Soviet Union. And so he listed all of these different folks that were actually enemies of the United States, who were the actual founders of the United Nations.
Wow.
Yeah,
Um. Yeah, I was. I'm looking at JB Hickson.
I did not get a chance to listen to JB. I
I
talked
got.
to him, but I didn't get a chance to listen to him.
How about Don?
Same thing, Don. Because they had two different rooms. I ate breakfast with Don, and so I got a chance to talk with
Okay.
him. I got a chance to talk with him a few times, but I didn't get a chance to go and listen to him. Uh,
Yeah.
because I have the live stream for 6 months, I'll get a chance to listen. Eventually, and when the DVDs come out, I'll get the DVDs too.
Yeah. Don is cool.
Yeah,
How about Larry Olson?
Larry Ellison. Again, I talked to him and his wife. My table was right next to theirs.
Oh, okay.
Um, I didn't tell you that I actually had a table there.
Yeah, you
Um,
did. Well, never mind. That was the other. Never mind. Go ahead.
okay. So I got in 2 days early. Conference started on Thursday. I flew into Oklahoma City on Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and I drove to YWAM, Youth with a Mission, to the Winky Revival Library on Wednesday, and I picked up 5 boxes of Devil Take the Youngest, The Contract of the Children that Winky Pratney wrote in 1985. I had ordered 24 of Youth Aflame 2.0, and D. Patton gave me a bunch of copies of Ultimate Core, and another book that they had. I forget what the name of it was. It wasn't Winky's, but gave me some copies of that one. And so when I got there on when I got back on Wednesday after driving, and granted, it's a 4-hour drive in each direction.
Wow.
Okay, so Oklahoma City out to YWAM was 4 hours, and then driving back was also 4 hours. And so um, they gave, Bob knew that I wanted to do some giveaway, and so they allowed me to have my own table. And so after helping them set the magazine tables up, I went upstairs, took a nap, and this is after I set up my own table. And when I came back downstairs, my table was almost completely empty.
Wow.
Everything that I put out there was gone, except for like maybe 5 books of Devil Take the Youngest. But I had 4 boxes of them. I mean, I had 5 boxes of them. So I restocked that part of the table, and I created flash drives. Um, on the flash drive, I had 2 gigs worth of stuff. I put on there um, Winky actually teaching Contract of the Children. I put on the flash drive a history of revival that he had taught to Last Days Ministries, and he actually mentioned the Falklands War, so I know when he taught that at Last Days. I put on there. Let me see. Uh, the Absolutes of Wonder, which is Winky teaching 17 messages on the nature and character of God. And I also gave a full copy of the book Nature and Character of God on as a PDF, and a handbook for followers of Jesus as a PDF. And so that was 2 gigs worth of stuff, and I gave away. I just put this on the table and on the table and put down there free. Please take. And so all the flash drives disappeared. Every time I restocked with flash drives, they would all disappear. Every time I restocked with some more of the books, they would all disappear. Okay. Um, for lunch on Saturday, Matt Freeman of New City Church, um, he spoke on the 5 crowns. And so in 2009, Jack Kinsella of the Omega Litter wrote a paper called Five Judgments, 5 Crowns. And so I went back into my email and pulled that up, and I put out 15 copies of that, along with a couple of other papers that I wrote, and that disappeared. I put out another 15 copies of that, and all the papers that I had written, and all the papers that and all the ones that Jack Kinsella did, um, all of that, it all disappeared. So everything that I put on the table that said "free, please take," I was able to actually serve and not just be. I was actually able to give and not just take, which is glorious. It's glory to God, because
Amen.
especially with the books that were at YWAM at the Wiki's Revival Library. I mean, the books were written. Devil Take the Youngest was written in 1985. So they're sitting. While the statistics may be getting old, all the principles are not.
Right.
So talking about books that have been, out for almost 40 years, but people took them all. Which, glory to God, introduce a new group of people to Winky Pratney and how brilliant he is, as far as the ways that he writes stuff. And so I was able to give away Youth of Flame 2.0, the regular Youth of Flame, because I had a bunch of copies of that one, Ultimate Core, Devil Take the Youngest. I was able to give away all of that stuff rather than it sitting in the library at YWAM and just collecting dust. Basically, the box is collecting dust.
All right. All right. There was 2 guys on here I'm seeing, Ken Mickle, former detective, and Pete Garcia, combat veteran.
Okay. Pete Garcia, he actually used to write for the Omega Letter after Jack Kinsella died. and he and I was trying to write this book, and he was trying to help me write it, but I never got finished with it.
Ah,
Um, and and Ken Mickle, he is a member of Jan Markell's ministry in Minneapolis, Olive Tree Ministries. That's where he's out of. He's out of Minneapolis, and his 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 messages were dealing with Antifa and the riots and the lawlessness that's going on in the cities, um, from a policeman's point of view,
right,
um, and as far as praying and asking God for righteousness and stuff like that in the cities. Because Antifa has now been named as a terrorist group, domestic terrorism, and
right.
so he was talking about that from that particular point of view.
I got you. Daggone, man, that's a lot. Um, that is
Well, it was what was it? 24 or 25 speakers,
right.
okay, across and doubling up, you know, uh, every day, on Friday and Saturday, and doubling up and on Sunday morning. So um, it's just me. I feel more at home there than I do anywhere else
I got you.
because I can actually have conversations with folks where I don't have to teach before I can talk.
I get it.
So I'm at home when I'm at the conferences.
I get it. You got anything, Apostle?
No, I'm just listening, trying to take it in.
Taking it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see here you had Terry James there, author of 45 Bible prophecy books.
And I was listening to other folks. I'll catch him when I'm watching the live stream.
I got you. And then you had a Messianic Jewish apologist there, Doctor
Talking about Oliver Melnick and
German.
I'm listening to somebody else while he was speaking.
Oh man, hey, look, I had a chance. If it wasn't for the incident that happened that Saturday, I probably would have learned a lot, especially the guy who was teaching us how to read and write Hebrew.
That was David Ben Gigi, and he
Yeah,
was not there this time.
wow. Um, I just wanted to bring you on to basically tell us how the conference runs, how it goes, how you already know most of the speakers, by name. You got contact information. Tell the audience about some of the speakers who will be coming on this Jackson and Jackson podcast.
Okay, well, last night I had a conversation with Derek Gilbert, who's coming on the podcast. He is he's with Skywatch TV, and I was talking with him about the cleanup in Gaza, and because I'm comparing what Gaza looks like right now, which is a pile of rubble, to what Dresden looked like after World War II. Um, I don't know if you noticed, Apostle Jolly, is that at the end of World War II, in order to break the will of the German people, the Allies literally bombed the city of Dresden to the point where it was nothing but rubble.
Mm.
If you can go and look up pictures of what Dresden looked like, but if you want a halfway decent video of it, look at the movie The Pianist, which came out I think 22, 23 years ago, and with Adrian Brody, who won the Academy Award, and I think that movie got the Best Picture that year.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, The
Mm.
Pianist,
Hmm.
and that's what Dresden. What Gaza looks like right now is what Dresden looked like. I
Mm.
looked up. I looked up what Dresden. How long it took to clear out Dresden, and they said that they laid. And on Wikipedia, it said they laid 7 rails of temporary railroad track in order to be able to clean out the debris. It took 5,000 workers with 40 locomotives. The last locomotive was, now you're talking about starting in 1945. the last um, the last locomotive that went out of service in 1958. So you're talking about 13 years of doing that type of cleanup, and the last group was finally disbanded in 1977. So you're
Wow.
talking about them taking for Dresden. It took actually almost 32 years for them to clean out all the rebel out of Dresden. And Gaza and the Gaza Strip, I mean, 90% of the Gaza Strip has been bombed into rubble.
Mm.
The Israelites, the Israelis have taken it completely out because Chris Plant said this yesterday morning. He said that underneath Gaza, the they had Hamas has literally built something like 250 to 350 miles of tunnels, and they
Mm.
have somewhere around 5,000 access points
Right.
Mm.
to get down into the tunnels.
Wow.
Okay, so Israel, doing everything they could to find the hostages in the tunnels, 350 miles of tunnels under the Gaza Strip.
Right.
There's no way, and there's no way that they're going to be able to really build the place up unless they have the help of Hamas to know where the tunnels are, because you go and you sink a foundation in there, okay, where you could miss a tunnel or you could miss it by 5 feet if you're sinking a foundation, but the foundation wouldn't be that well. Or you could be drilling in order to make a foundation. All of a sudden, you hit airspace because you do hit a tunnel.
Right.
Mm.
So
Wow.
32 years of trying to clean up Dresden, and you talk about 90 something percent. Uh, Hamas. I mean, 90% of the Gaza Strip is nothing but rubble at this point. It will take years, and they don't have the infrastructure, along with the fact that there's no railway system, over in Gaza to go and clear the debris out. So you're talking about using nothing but dump trucks and roads in order to do this, and it took over a year and a half. Well, it took over a year in order to clear out the debris from the Key Bridge collapse.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, man.
Mm.
That was in Baltimore.
Right. It took over a year to clear out the Key Bridge, clear out all the rubble from the Key Bridge collapse. And so, how long it's going to take in order to clear out Gaza? I mean, that little meme that you see running around on the internet saying Trump Gaza, that there's a good chance that even if he did do it and whatnot, right, it might take between 5 to 10 years just in order to get the infrastructure and everything else straight. I mean, you're talking about sewage lines and everything else in order to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
Well, we're coming up on that hour. Um, I want to thank you guys for coming on. Um, Apostle Jolly, please let the audience know where they can find you on YouTube for Saturday and Sunday.
Well, this Saturday I won't be on because I have to work. Um, I'm doing extra shifts, trying to make some extra money.
I got you.
No such thing as extra money if your name isn't Kennedy or Vanderbilt or Rockefeller. No such thing.
But I will be on this Sunday. Um, it's uh, Apostle Jolly show, Apo- Apostle J, excuse me, Apostle J show and podcast.
All right,
Yeah,
and that's on YouTube, right?
yes,
All
yeah.
right, and then Kevin, where can they see some of your writings at?
uh, I I haven't posted for a while, but you can find me on Substack. I'm going to try to do some posting this weekend. Substack, um, look for a biblical prophetic worldview.
All right, and I will be tomorrow morning. I will be at the Savannah Mustang Club show at Skidaway Island in Savannah. I was thinking about taking the Mustang up there to put it in the show. I just changed my mind, so I'll probably wait until I get more stuff done to it before I go ahead and enter it in any shows. Next Saturday, I will be at Cars and Coffee Trunk or Treat. I believe they're going to have it at the Super Mart here in Hinesville, Georgia. They normally get over 1,000 kids at the Trunk or Treat. You're going to see some nice rides that are hooked up, and all kinds of different themes and genres. So that's where I'm gonna be at next week, basically. I want to thank you all for coming in. Thank everybody for listening. If you came in late, it's okay. It'll be on YouTube, and it's on Facebook. And most likely, if it's on Facebook, that means it's streaming on Instagram. So, as I leave this place, I just want to let you all know, thank you. Speed. God bless you. Peace.
Peace out, folks.
Peace.